Hello crafter, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome back if you're a subscriber. This video is an edited replay of a live YouTube stream. I'm using the Circle Accordion die set from madetosurprise, and rather than go through all the chat that I did in the live stream, I'm going to chop it down so I can show you what I used to make the card, how I made the card, and then the images at the end. So if you'd like to have the longer view, a video, and listen to all the chat, etc., I leave a link to that down below in the description. There's also links to Sam's YouTube video. Sam is madetosurprise. She's mixed up craft the products as well. So I'll leave links down below to her playlist, to my playlist using this die, and to any sizes that I can give you that you're not using dies for. So let's go ahead and have a look at what we're going to be using today. Right, these are how I keep my dies. I have them all in here so I can just look at them and pull out what I need. And it's a great visual thing as well, that I can look and see that I have all my dies in place. So I'm going to move that out of the way so it doesn't shine, and I'm going to move that over here. I'll push the old laptop over another bit so it doesn't fall off the desk. Right, I have all my bits and pieces here ready, as you can see. So the first thing I have is a 7x7 card base. Now I buy 8x8 card bases. They come with envelopes, and the fabulous thing about that is when I make a bulky card and I've cut it down to 7x7, I can fit this in to that envelope no problem and bang it into the post. So yeah, now if you don't have 8x8 or 7x7 card blanks, you can make your own. All you'll need is a piece of 7.5x7. and you'll score that at 1/2 inch. That'll give us a tab to add on to a second piece of card, which will be 7x7. And once you join those two together, you'll then have a 7x7. And you can make an envelope for that then. The great old YouTube and internet, if you don't have an envelope maker, you can go on the internet and get measurements on making your envelope. Now a 7.5x7.5 envelope, if you're making one, will be perfect, but like I said, I've got my ready-made 8x8 and that's what I'm going to use. So the card we're going to make, well, the hint is in the title. We're going to make an Easel style Tentfold card. I love an Easel card. I just think it's fab. But I hate having to put a little stopper on it, because a lot of people I would give Easel cards to that aren't crafters, they open it and they go, oh geez, that's lovely. And then they close it up like that and sit it like that on a mantle or on a shelf. And we want them to open it and have it like that. So I find with having the tent orientation in here, when they open the card, the tent orientation slides out and then they're prone to sit it up like that. Okay, so because it's a Tentfold Easel card, we need the Tentfold part. Now, my Tentfold, it measures 7.25 by 6 7/8. And I've got 2 score lines in it. The first one is at 1/2 inch and the second one is at 3 7/8. Now I know that's a funny measurement, but I wanted to kind of fold up. You see there the way the two of them are even. I don't know, maybe it's my OCD and it doesn't need to be that way, but that's how I've done it. This is going to sit inside our card, and it's going to be in a valley fold. See that there? That's a valley fold, and we're going to sit it in that orientation. It's going to stick onto this part of our card, and we're going to line it up there just above the score line, because we'll want it to fold flat. I also have done this at 6 7/8 rather than 7 inches, because it's pulled back a 1/16 of an inch, or what I like to call a smidge. It means that, it's not going to be set out over the edge. I suppose it looks neat. So that's why I'm doing that. So this will be the tenfold part, and then this is going to close up like so. And then what's in here, which is going to be this piece, is going to fold into there. So the piece that we're adding to this is from the Circle Accordion. If I move that out of there, you'll see it's the big, large die here. Now I have a die cut out already. There are some score lines in this already. I'm not using them. I want to put 2 score lines onto this piece myself. So I have put this in my scoreboard. Let me get mine out so visually you'll see better. And what I've done is I've scored in at 1 3/8. So it's the little notch before the 1.5. And I've scored that down the whole way. And I'm hoping if I bring this up closer to you, you'll see that that score line is just back from this opening here. So that's where we want our score line. And we want to do it on both sides. I have another one here, just here. I don't know if you can see. I'm stood up looking into the camera overhead. So we want another one there. Now, you can score this at 1 3/8 and then move over to 8 1/8 and score along. Or you can just turn it around and do the same thing again, score at 1 3/8. So these 2 score lines are going to become mountain folds. And I'm going to move my scoreboard away again. And we're going to fold these under. Now I'm going to burnish those score lines because it will sit better in our card base if we do that. So there's one done. Now the next one, we're not going near that because they're the 2 score lines here that were in the die, that the die put in. We don't want to do them. Just the score lines that we have done ourselves. And there we go. So these 2 pieces are going to become tabs that will fit into our card base. So they will fit in here like so. Now I've brought it down a little bit. You can see that they're a little bit shorter, but I just want it for ease of folding. So when the card folds over, it'll fold nicely. So these 2 are going to become tabs. One is going to stick onto the top of our card base like so, and I won't bring it up flush with the top. I'll pull it down about 1/4 inch. You'll also see each side there's less than a 1/16. It's a very small smidge because this is just shy. The die cuts out just shy of 7 inches. So it'll sit in there nicely. So you can have this as far up or as far down as you like. I'm going to bring it down about 1/4 inch. And it just means that it gives a cleaner look when our card is folded. You won't see this edge popping out. It'll be back behind the card base. So take the time when you're doing it to pop that in nicely there. Then our Tentfold piece will sit in the back here, and then this tab will attach to the Tentfold piece here. Now I like to pop the Tentfold piece over that tab because it gives a cleaner look. If we stick that on there, you see there, you'll see that through the holes, the openings. So if we put our Tentfold over the tab and stick that on there, then that'll give a nicer and cleaner look. And you can see there, my Tentfold piece is literally the exact same size as the die cut out piece. So that'll go stick on there. This tab will stick down there, and that will all sit over there. So it'll look lovely. That's how it'll sit in there now, nicely like that. So our piece will fold closed like that. And then when it opens, it will pop out, something similar to that. And this piece will fold down. It'll be lovely and something different, you know, because Sam has loads of videos on how you can take this die cut piece and run with different things. So I just want to add to that and give you more ideas again. So now I'm going to move this out of the way. We have this piece here. I have die cut out, and again, there are dies in this die set. There's 2 circle ones here. Now, they're not a true circle. They are a little bit squished. So when you're die cutting out and you have your matte layer and your top layer, when you put them together, you need to be careful, because if you see here, you need to kind of rotate your top one around so that you get a nice even border. And what I like to do is use some liquid glue, and that way then when I'm gluing them together, I can rotate it a bit. But you should have a nice even border going the whole way around. If you take your time, add your liquid glue, that should work nicely. So we want one of those to go in here. And again, you need to be turning this piece around to make sure that you have it, so you have a nice even border in there as well. So then we have our circle. The next piece we need to die cut out is the squished ovals. So we want 1 matte layer and 1 top layer, pattern paper or whatever. I've used the embossing folder here, and I haven't mentioned that yet. The one I have used is the Bubbles embossing folder, and this is from a previous collection. So whatever you have in your stash will be perfect. Now with this one, we need to do some cutting, because we want to put our little layer here down at the bottom. So what I'll do is I'll pop that on there, and you might be able to see I have a couple of marks done already. And you just need to get it wiggled in the right way. So we have the same border. I'm going to put my center panel on first, and then I'm going to kind of gauge by that, and I can do my pencil lines, cut that across, and then I'll do the same with my top piece. I'll then pop that on top there, and I'll mark that so I can cut it off. So we'll do that together when we get to that point. The next thing I want to look at is, now Sam has little dies in the die set, these ones here. We have this and this for putting mats and layers the whole way along. Now I wanted to do something different. Rather than die cutting them out, I have taken a piece here, and this piece measures 6.5 by 1/2 inch. I think that's right. Yeah, 6.5 by 1/2 inch. And I'm going to pop that down there. And that should give us a nice border all the way around. And then I have this piece embossed, and it's 6.25 by 1/4 inch. And I'm going to pop that on there. Now, if you don't want to add 2 strips either side, you can die cut out the little panels that go along it. But I thought this would be something different to have. I think it gives it a fuller look rather than the broken up little pieces. Okay, so I have 2 of those, and then I've die cut out the Merry, and the Merry is from the Big Words. Let me bring that in so you can see it. It's the Big Words stamp and die set, and again, I think a lot of Sam's collections sell out so fast. Now there is a Made to Surprise de-stash group on Facebook. So a lot of people who buy products use it for a while and decide, you know what, I'm going to sell that and buy another collection. They put them up there. And I have to say, a lot of the products are in brilliant shape. So if you're looking for something Made to Surprise and you can't get it from the Craft World website, then check out the Made to Surprise de-stash group. Natalie, I think, is it Natalie Leach Watson is the admin. She runs that group, but she's really, really good. So if you're looking for anything, have a look on there. But I've used the Big Words. I've die cut out the Merry. Now I've done it in 3 different ways because I'm not sure how I would like it to be. I think I'm going to go with the white and gold, and I'm going to pop that up there like that. But I did it in the red and white and red, just in case. Gives me options, you know, because we're live. It's not something I can pause the recording on and decide what I want. I've also got lots of ephemera. So I've taken some of the ephemera, and I've taken this beautiful robin, and I figure I'll have my Merry there, my robin here. I'm going to put it up on some foam because dimension is king. And then I'm going to take some of the other little pieces here and I'm going to pop them in around it and around the Mary and the whole lot. And I think that would be lovely. I'll keep 1 or 2 pieces as well to decorate the back of my card, because the back of our card base is where I'm going to stamp my message and write my message. Now, what I will do is I will cut a piece of red card to match my mats and layers and a piece of white card. And I'll do that with you because I haven't that done yet. Stamp my sentiment on it and put it on the back. And that way then we have a place to write our message to the recipient. So that is everything, other than I'm going to use this stamp set. It's the Vintage Christmas Sentiments. And I'm going to use, I like the idea of having joyful Christmas on the back of this, keeping it nice and sweet. I do love this sentiment. May Christmas with its magic spell make all the things happy and all the things well. I think that's lovely. But I have to say my favorite sentiment out of this is ho ho bloody ho. I think anything that has a Santa on my Christmas cards this year is going to be finished with that sentiment because it cracks me up every time. Okay, so that is all our bits and pieces that we need. It's time to do a little bit of assembly. So that's what I'm going to do next. So I'm going to use a little bit of double-sided tape on that tab. And once I have that down, I'll be able to take the release paper off that and I'll add a little bit of liquid glue. And that will then give me a bit of wiggle room as I'm placing this down. My 2 favorite glues are the Kalal, and that is a construction glue, or there's the Barely Arts glue, which is a quick grab glue. So once I've that down now, I'm going to stick that down onto the card base, and I have it just up from the score line. You don't want to sit that down next, you know, on top of it. It needs to be next to it. So I'll add a bit of pressure there and fold that over, and you can see now my card folds over nicely. Now we want to add our tab onto our die cut panel. So again, I'm going to glue that down and I'm going to use some double-sided tape as well as some liquid glue. I'll take the release paper off my double-sided tape and then I will add my liquid glue. Now the reason I'm using double-sided tape and liquid glue was this was during a live. So I wanted to make sure that the double-sided tape would grab, but the liquid glue just gave me a little bit of wiggle room. So once I had it in place, I add a bit of pressure down and then I know the tape is going to take hold, and then that allows the glue then to dry. So it's just something really that I do during a live, you know, having the little bit of double-sided tape there with the liquid glue just gives some wiggle room. Now I'm going to add a little bit of the tape again and the liquid adhesive to that top fold just there. So I'm going to quickly add that on and then we're going to sit that down onto the card base. So I'm going to tuck my tab back and then I'm rolling the die cut down. I want to make sure that that is nice and flat, and once I've that done then I can add a bit of pressure onto those tabs. I made sure it's centered, and I'm going to have to add a panel now in behind there, and that's going to hide our tab there at the top and it'll give a nice pop. So I'll put a lovely embossed panel in there and I'll get to that in a minute now. So next I'm going to add our squished circle to our die cut piece. Now I'm going to use my construction glue again for this, but only because it'll go hard. It gives strength to our card when it's dry. So that's on. Next thing then we're going to look at is our ovals. So I have a couple of pencil lines on mine. I'm going to rub them out now and I'm going to sit my matte layer on and I'll put a little line there. I'm going to come up from the bottom a bit so I have a white border across the bottom, and then I'll pop that into my trimmer and I'll just line up my 2 pencil lines and then I can cut that piece off. Now I know that's going to fit pretty nicely in there. So I'm going to take my white piece now and I'm going to do the same with that. I'm going to have my little border there. You can see the red one across the top, and I'll mark up a bit from the bottom. It's about 1/4 of an inch. So we'll have the same amount of white border and red border as what we have in our center panel piece. And I'll cut that off. Now all I need to do is put the 2 red pieces together. I line them up so that they match, and then I'll take my pencil and put 2 little pencil lines on the larger piece, and then I can cut that piece down. And again, I'll just line up my pencil lines there with my trimmer. You could use the scissors for this, but I'd cut a wonky line, so I wouldn't dare. Right, and I'll do the same again with my white. I'm making sure that it lines up with the other side of that white oval. Then I can cut that one down, and make sure any pencil lines that you have on any of the 4 pieces, rub them off before you stick them down. I missed that point, so I end up sticking them down, then I spot a pencil line, but it rubs off okay. Again, I'm going to use the collal glue to stick these together just for strength, but use whatever you have. And then once I have these 2 pieces stuck together, I'll then attach them onto the card. With those in place now, I can put our mat and layer for the 2 sides. Again, you can either use the little dies that come in the set, but I've cut my own, and I do like how this looks. It kind of gives it a bit of an egg timer look. But yeah, love it, love it. So again, I'm gluing them down using the collal, and then once that's in place, we can move on to decorating. So now, whether you're decorating for a birthday or a retirement or an anniversary or Christmas like me, it's just a matter of taking your bits and pieces and adding them on the front. Now, there's very little bulk on this as it stands now. So adding foam or wobblers or any of the other things, it'll add to how thick your card is. For me, I don't mind having bulk, so I'm happy to add my foam. I'm going to add a little piece to the M and to the Y, and a bit to the bottoms of the oars, because there's some gaps there, and I'm going to make sure I don't have any foam sticking out where it doesn't need to be. I've added a little bit of greenery there to the above the Mary, or above the M on the Mary, and I'm also going to add a bit to the side of the Y. I love all this greenery that came in the ephemera. And what I'm going to do later is I'm going to go around and add some glossy accents to all the little berries and to my robin once I'm finished. And it really does give it a lovely look with that done. So I have my Mary in place, and I'm sticking my robin down. That's on some foam as well. And then around that, I can glue down some of my other ephemera pieces. And I'm keeping the numbers odd for the greenery I'm adding down, because odd numbers do always look better. So now it's coming along nicely. I'm really pleased with that. I'll add some of my Love from Lizi twinkles around the front of that. What we need to do now is add our panels to the front, to the back, and to behind. And again, measurements are down in the description. So I'm going to go ahead, get those panels ready, and come back to you once I've those done. So I have cut my mat and layer for the front. You can see the front white panel has been embossed with the bubbles, and I've used 2 of the smaller squished circle dies and a sentiment, one of Sam's Christmas sentiments there for the front. I'm keeping it pretty basic because I just want people to go, oh look, that's lovely, open it and go wow, and then be inclined to sit it open rather than trying to sit it showing the front, which is, you know, what a normal card kind of looks like when you buy them from the shop, so people are inclined to do that. And again, I'm popping some of my Love from Lizi gold holographic twinkles. I've stamped my Christmas sentiment, and that's from the Big Words set where it has dies and stamps. I'm going to glue that straight down to the center, and then I can work on my back panel. So again, I have the mat and layer for that already done. I have it stamped, so it's just a matter of gluing that down in place. And once I have that in place, I'll add a couple of twinkles to that, as well as one little ephemera piece, because I think, you know, it really pulls in what's going on in the front and as well as the middle of our card. And there we go. There is our card, and I will finish off, like I said, using some accent glaze. This is the Made to Surprise accent glaze that I have here. I think our card looks fab. It sits beautifully and it just gives all the right vibes. I'm really happy with it. I hope you've enjoyed this abridged version, this edited replay of my live that I had. I leave links to that as well down below, and to a playlist with all my lives using these products. I hope you've enjoyed my video. If you have, you might give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel Blonde Cards and Crafts, and ding the bell. That way you'll be notified next time I post a new video. You can share your makes with me on my Facebook group called Your Cards and Crafts. And if you'd like to help support my channel, you can click the Super Thanks button down below. That will help my channel. So thanks for watching. Until next time, take care, stay safe, and bye for now.